you talk as though like you're not as hardcore as us about video games and stuff. Anybody who beats The Witcher is fucking hardcore about video games. Hey everybody, this is Nate, and I'm here to talk about Mutiny Info Cafe in Denver. If you come out to Denver, you go down to Broadway Street. That's the first place you want to look for. There's all kinds of restaurants, hip bars, music at night, all that stuff's on Broadway. When you're walking down Broadway, you're going to have about 15,000 options of places that you can get coffee. Walk by them all until you get to Mutiny. Go to Mutiny, grab a quality cup of coffee, and then browse the records, the comic books, the regular books. Somebody's giving a speech in the back about something crazy every other day. There's live music going on. They got pinball tables inside that place. I'm telling you, Mutiny's a badass place to go. Go check it out on Broadway in Denver. You won't regret it.
We have an abbreviated news of the week this week. We're going to talk about the Disney purchase of Fox. And we'll also talk about the Empire falling, the shroud of the Empire in the FCC, and their destruction of net neutrality. And then we start talking about some Last Jedi. We kick it off with the non-spoiler section, so people that haven't watched the film can check in there, get our thoughts on it, and then we break into this massive, crazy spoiler section, and Jeff has a lot to say.
All right, let's
check it out. Woo!
All right, Dirk, how's your week?
Woo! I had a great week. I want to start off with the small stuff real quick. Just the comics I read. I've been reading Deadpool lately. And it's excellent. The Marvel book Deadpool is fantastic. Jerry Dugan writes it. But the latest series in Deadpool is that it's called Deadpool Kills Cable. And,
okay.
It's awesome. I mean, they time travel. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens in it, and it's hilarious on top of that. I read Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if I covered Maestro's last week, but I think I did. But in case I did, I read that. And I read Baby Teeth #1, which was awesome. Baby Teeth is about the story. This woman is going through labor. She's pregnant throughout the issue, and at the end of the issue, she gives birth to the Antichrist. So the series is all going to be about this baby that's the Antichrist.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, thanks. Does she produce green milk too?
It says it on the front. I mean, the baby. Yeah. You see the baby with the upside down cross on the cover of the issue.
Okay.
Gotcha.
The major stuff. Let's see. I watched Star Wars. Had my Christmas party at work. The two major things are I won in everybody's golf.
Yeah.
I beat Adam.
That was awesome.
It's not really about winning everybody's golf. That I beat Adam.
No, it is.
Awesome. I'm glad you won that.
I was really nervous, dude, because I was not playing that round in my practice rounds for it very well. I was getting like 14 under, and I was like, this is not going to work. But we were leaving for Baton Rouge. She ended up having to do a bunch of stuff, and I noticed that when I'm by myself, I can focus, and that's what happened. And I was able to do it. So it was a fun season. I really enjoyed it. I know we hate this game, but it was fun, the smack talk. Yeah, just being able, and it would have been much different if Adam won it all. Then we would all look back and say, well, it's not that fun. But he didn't win.
Anyway.
No, it was. It was great. And then my #1 thing was I beat The Witcher.
Yeah.
Which was so just right up until the end, man. I get kind of beklimped thinking about it.
That's hardcore, man. You talk as though like you're not as hardcore as us about video games and stuff. Anybody who beats The Witcher is fucking hardcore about video games. That's a big fucking game.
It is.
Yeah.
But you have to really be. I don't know. Like Jeff, I know Jeff's having issues getting back into it, but just keep doing it. Because you're gonna get to a point where you start to lose yourself in it again,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that storyline is just so. It just wraps you up. I mean, if you're into like really emotive, I know like, as in The Last of Us. Jeff, I mean, if you love The Last of Us, you're gonna love The Witcher. To me, it's sort of simpatico,
Methodical. Or
hand in hand. But
Yep.
yes, that last scene was amazing. I hated it in some ways. I didn't like what happened, but I understood.
We'll have to talk because I think there's different endings, huh?
There are
Yeah,
different endings.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
maybe there is.
Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
wonder
sure.
what yours was, Derek.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it after the show here.
Disappointing, but I understood it.
Yeah, we're gonna do
I was fired up about mine.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I thought it was awesome.
we'll definitely do
See?
full spoilers Witcher talk once Jeff gets through it. So
I
that'll be next
gotta-
year. But we'll
Next
do
year,
it.
July.
just wait. Oh, yeah, for official, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jeff.
I didn't do too much because I was sick, but I beat Last of Us, and it was awesome. I beat Last of Us,
Yeah.
and I did Left Behind, which was just as good as
Wasn't it?
this. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean there was points where I was like, "Wow," and then I was like, "No, please no, wow, really? That's really after all this, that's your take? No, going down, bitch." And and then I like Left Behind because I love that story that they told in that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
That gapper. And I watched a small movie called Last Jedi
Right. Right.
twice.
Indie film.
Indie film. Not very big. And yeah, that was pretty much it. 'Cause-
Hey, I got a question for you and for everybody else. That trailer from Last of Us 2, is that connected? I mean, or Jeff, or did you see anything?
I got to
on that
rewatch
trailer?
it again.
Okay.
I got to rewatch it again because part of me wants it, but then part of me doesn't.
Right. Yeah, that's what we and Nate said.
Yeah.
Too.
Although at PSX they actually had the guy that plays Joel and Ellie singing a song as part of their leading into The Last of Us Part 2. And
Yeah.
what's interesting, I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah, don't
Oh,
say
yeah.
anything.
I'm with you though, Jeff. I would prefer there to have never been sequels to it, but now that there are, it's like okay, cool. It's my most anticipated game now that they're making it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't really need a sequel because
Right.
it ended. I
Right.
thought it ended fine.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. So my week, I beat Nier for the first time.
Nice.
Woo!
Yeah.
Man, did we beat 3 games in a week?
I think we
Did Corey
did.
beat
Yeah.
one?
No.
Not this week.
Xeno
Which is an
Blade.
off week, but still,
he's
that's
beat
3.
like 20 games since.
Yes,
any
he
of us
did.
have.
No, it's not a contest.
Not this
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, I gotta be honest. So I'm supposed to play it 2 more times. I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't think I get it, to be honest. Like I just don't feel like it's fun enough to keep pushing through.
Crazy.
It's got an
You have to
interesting
beat it 3
setting.
times?
Yeah, you're supposed to. It changes, so you don't actually beat the
Dang,
game
that's
until
a
you play
lot.
it through 3 times.
That's a lot.
No, it's not that long. It's you could I could do that twice in the time.
The
you
first
beat
one's the
Witcher.
longest.
Yeah.
But that being said, I just the core gameplay itself, I'm just not feeling that much. We'll see. I won't be surprised if I don't get back to it, to be honest.
Wow.
Watched the half season finale of Walking Dead,
Yeah.
which again we got to talk about not
Whoa.
on this show because it's controversial.
I think you're wrong. That shit is happening, Nate. It's. I don't think there's any going back from what happened.
So the and
I
then,
have an idea.
reading a lot of D&D still, getting ready.
Right.
Yes!
I'm about to start building the maps and whatnot for this bad boy. And then the other thing is that started watching a Netflix TV show called Dark.
Okay.
Which
I heard about it.
I heard
Is it
about
good?
that.
it's really good. Really, really good. I absolutely recommend it. It's all in German, so you got to be down with reading subtitles for an hour.
Ugh.
But
That's fine.
That's
I
awesome.
like it, to be honest. I like the fact that it's in subtitles, and I like the
Yeah, I
it's,
dig that.
it's really really cool. Again, it's kind of about high schoolers. It's about a group of kids, but it's fun to see kind of how German culture is different and how like their high school is different than high schools that you'd walk into here today or whatnot. So
Yeah.
and then besides that, it's just got an intriguing story. It's kind of scary, kind of horror, kind of you don't know what's going on, maybe sci-fi. But yeah, good. Can't recommend it enough. Dark.
Definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah. All right.
Nice. All right. I
Show
did a
and
bunch
tell.
of shit this week. I got
Show and tell.
show and tell, but first I'll start off with the comics I read. Actually read. I'm in Florida now, by the way.
Woo!
Filming
Hank's in
this.
Cowabunga!
There's no surfing out here.
Wrong coast.
Not
sir.
Cali.
I know. I know.
I rode the pirate ship tonight, though. That's pretty
Nice.
sweet. Weather's great down here. Filming this from the floor of my parents' guest room. But before I came down here, there's a friggin' blizzard in Michigan, so I read a bunch of comic books. I started reading some Aquaman.
Oh.
Honestly, I read like 3 books and I wasn't that into them. I don't know. It got decent reviews and I just wasn't really digging it. I don't know if I'm just not into Aquaman
Go
or
with
what.
DC.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm really like into DC or if just Batman. But well, I guess also sticking with DC, I read Mr. Miracle.
Yeah. How was it?
That is fucking awesome.
I have
that
it
book
ready to
is
go.
So good. You're gonna love it. I guarantee
Oh.
it. It's
I heard it's the best thing out besides Saga. Some people
yeah.
are saying.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say that.
I'm just saying, you know, some people.
but it's up there. It's a really great book. Yeah, it's not. I had no idea what to expect, and it's crazy. I mean, it's real dark.
Yeah,
I mean,
DC's gritty.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it's just a regular DC book and not one of their off-print
Vertigo,
brands.
yeah.
It's Vertigo, or at least doesn't have a parental advisory on the front because it's hardcore. Kids should not read that book. It's but really good, real out there. I don't want to get into any spoilers. I don't even want to spoil it. It's best to go into it fresh, really not knowing anything about it. But
Yeah.
it's awesome. I think it's a 12-part series, but great stuff. The art's great. The story's really awesome. I'd never even heard of the New Gods in DC before, and so it's kind of my intro to them, and it's pretty.
The Kirby
it's
thing,
sweet.
huh?
So, huh?
Isn't that Kirby?
Yeah,
It's
everybody's.
a Kirby thing. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. But, so yeah, Mr. Miracle's awesome. Read Black Magic #9. It's great. Read Extremity #9. It's also great. I read Angelic 1 through 3. That's an Image book.
Oh.
It has really good reviews. It's like a post-humanity, where animals, like machine enhanced animals rule the earth, and it's about monkeys and dolphins and like it's this AI thing going on, and it's real weird, but it's pretty good. I don't know. It's good stuff though. It's like 3 issues in.
Sweet.
And then I read Witchblade #1.
Yeah, I read that.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Not bad. So off to a decent start. It's hard to judge, by the first issue, but decent stuff. And then I started watching The Punisher.
What do you think?
Uh,
Jeff was so hyped on it.
I really like it. I think
Looks
it's
good.
I think it's probably my second favorite, second to Jessica Jones of all those shows.
I'm almost through or episode 1, so yeah, I agree up to this point. I know that I have the whole series to watch,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I just finished episode 6, I think, and I think it's really good. I definitely want to keep watching it. I'm gonna watch episode 7 before I go to bed here. But it's I really like it. It's cool. I mean, the Punisher's badass. It has the story going on. It's pretty decent, and it's although it's different from the other ones. It's it's a lot of war stuff and about him and his war buddies, and then there's crazy shit going on that that happened to him in his war days, and he's still catching up with people trying to punish. But no spoilers.
Awesome.
But I really like it, Jeff. I mean, I see why Jeff liked it so much. It's good. It's one of the,
I like John Barenthal as the Punisher.
yeah,
Yep.
He's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I like him.
He makes it.
Even more now that I've been watching the actual series. I saw him in Daredevil, but yeah, he's great. It's restored my faith in the Marvel Netflix shows a little bit. And then I guess that's it. Show and tell. Had first off, thank you, Nate.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
Yeah, got it.
that's a
I didn't
fucking
even-
awesome right
I didn't even
there.
have time to call Nate yet. We went straight into the show after we did presents. So thanks, Nate.
Yeah, you're welcome.
God.
No sorcerer.
Yeah,
Just
I
go
need to start.
directly to that.
Yep. I know. I was flipping through it. It looks like some awesome stuff in here. So.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. Got that. Got my yearly calendar. Women
Wow.
of Marvel Universe.
She-Hulk. She's my favorite. She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got all bunch of good stuff. I got this massive
Nice.
statue.
Sick.
Oh, I thought that was Dad's. I thought you were in like.
No, it's
some
fine.
other stuff.
That's awesome.
Oh, your dad's a big Hulk fan?
Superheroes in general. I actually got him Wonder Woman statue.
Spoiler!
So,
Spoiler alert. Nice.
Oh,
got Carol. So,
Nice.
Oh, I saw
Girl.
it today. I saw the
Yeah.
chain, and I saw the chain, and I saw Geralt and Ciri, the statues.
yeah, so now I have Geralt, Ciri, and Triss. So
Damn,
You
son.
gotta get Yen now.
I know, but she's she's the most expensive one. She's hard to find. It's like $100. And then
Because she's the best.
I got
Tell
these
the
bad
honest, at
boys.
least.
Oh, yellow
Oh, you
Joy-Cons?
got yellow
Yeah, the
Joy-Cons?
Joy-Cons, yeah. So now I got 2 sets of Joy-Cons, and for 2 players, and they're sweet. Yellow. So, yeah.
By the way,
Nice.
y'all all have gifts on the way, so keep an eye out for it.
Nice.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, shit.
Yep.
Is that it?
That's it.
Hey, oh, I was gonna say, I have one more thing to add to that.
Go ahead.
I read Wonder Woman, Conan the Barbarian crossover,
Oh.
and it's fucking awesome.
I've heard.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
How
Oh,
much
yeah.
did you read?
just issue 1. It
Okay.
was fantastic.
Oh, and I've continued reading Batman. I forgot.
Oh, after
and
that,
yeah, and the most recent one is Batman and Superman, part 1 of their team up together, and it's really awesome. It's
read
basically did you read
No,
it or you
I
read that?
that it was good.
Yeah, it was really good. It's basically Clark, Lois, Batman, and Catwoman, and it's great. I'm really ready for the next one. That Batman book's great. So
I forgot I started watching Jessica Jones on Netflix.
What?
How far are you into it?
Third. I'm only into the third episode. Not
Wait,
that far into it.
Have you gotten to Kilgrave yet?
Kilgrave? I haven't gotten to him yet. I know who he is. She's more of just getting introduced, basically Luke Cage.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Luke Cage is badass.
Nice, sexy.
All right.
Yeah.
That was our week.
That was our week.
News of the week. On to news of the week. We got a shortened news this week. That episode's going to be long as hell, which is why we got to stick with the unlimited audience. Sure. So,
Behind the scenes.
so we got just 2 news items, but big news, so we had to cover it. The FCC did destroy net neutrality. It's dead.
As predicted.
Well,
It's
yeah,
not
it's
completely
yeah,
dead
not
because
totally.
Congress can still overrule that.
There's lawsuits also being
Yeah,
filed.
there's lawsuits.
Yeah, it'll be a year before anything really happens, and stuff could happen in the meantime. But
It's hard to get the news out because right now the news is being saturated with all these sexual harassment scandals.
Yeah.
Ironically, coincidentally, right after Hugh Hefner dies, all of a sudden it just blows up.
He was like holding the universe together.
Yeah. But
also, the news is being broadcasted by cable providers that want net neutrality to be dead, so they're not.
not just
Gonna
cable
report it,
providers, also cell phone providers.
Yeah, but
But yeah, you're right. I mean,
So I read this might be fake news in 2017. You never know anymore. But I read that basically this is just overturning the I don't know, not a ruling, but the rules that Obama set up 2 years ago. It's not like the internet's been around for 15 years before that and not a terrible experience, right? Like Obama just passed a law that made it so that it cannot go the other way, and they took that away from them. I just have been thinking more and more about this. It wouldn't behoove any internet provider to give a shitty experience to people, right?
because they'll
That's
lose
just-
customers and it'll
Yeah.
just create competition to go back to the other.
Yeah, right. One person's going to come out, or one company's going to come out and say, "Hey, we don't do that," and then everybody would go to them. Like it just, I don't know. In theory, it's a terrible, terrible idea. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, but
Yeah.
I feel like in action, there's a chance that it's not the end of the internet as we know it.
No.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
yeah, we
I think-
don't know. I mean,
They're just saying, there's a potential. I think
There
people
is.
need to say that
Yeah.
too. Like, there's a potential of this happening.
Yeah.
There is.
They don't. They're just screaming that it's the worst thing that's going to happen.
Well, that's everybody. That's
That's
Yeah.
the world we live
There's-
in. Yeah.
that's all the people that
Right.
something doesn't go the way they want and they bitch and moan about it. Sort of like negativity on social media about Last Jedi.
Hey, buddy.
yeah. Well, yeah. So we reported on it a couple weeks ago, and guess what? It happened. Yeah. So number 2, Disney. Another thing that could possibly not go through, but Disney is
I thought it happened.
official. No, I mean they can still block it and call it a monopoly, and they're
FTC.
trying.
They-
Yeah, I mean.
Federal
Yeah,
Trade
it's-
Commission can do that.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's not official, but as long as no one stops them, Disney is buying Fox.
They
It's
made the
official
deal.
now.
54
Yeah, they made-
billion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're buying Fox. They're getting Marvel.
They're getting FX.
They're getting FX. They're getting X-Men, Fantastic Four, but they're not getting the news or the sports.
Right.
Yeah.
They say that
That's
news
why
and
they wanted it. That's why
Let
Fox
them
wanted
keep
it.
that.
Yeah.
They want to streamline it and spend their money, and reinvest it in the news and sports
Yeah.
section.
Well, and that's going to fall underneath the Wall Street Journal company is where those are going.
Whatever. Who cares though? The point is, X-Men.
I mean,
X-Men.
X-Men
in
confirmed
MCU.
in the MCU. Deadpool is still safe. They already said that at their shareholders meetings.
Yeah.
Fuck
Deadpool's
yeah.
still sick.
Yeah. So, and Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I mean, so
we'll see if we finally get a Fantastic Four product that's worthy of.
I think we will. This is so we will.
Good time.
Yeah.
You're just
Also-
totally confident that they'll pull it off.
Yeah.
Dude, if Marvel puts a great Fantastic Four movie out there, they are unstoppable.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think,
And this buy also
Don't fuck
helps.
with Legion.
And
no,
this,
I don't.
This will solidify though Disney's push into the streaming service because
Yes, it will.
they make this all exclusive. Oh,
Yeah, they'll
and
get The
Disney.
Simpsons and Family Guy.
They get A New Hope also.
Yes, Disney got
Yeah.
the full rights to
I read
the
that.
original
Take
trilogy.
that CGI out.
So they
They
can
can
make
go
an
back to the
ultimate.
theatrical release.
Yeah.
So, no, I think it's interesting. I think Marvel, Disney and Marvel are smart enough to not touch the products that are doing well. You know, so
Yeah.
that's why
The thing is,
Deadpool's
Legion
mistake.
didn't get that creative ratings. That's why it scares me.
But it is a smaller. It's I don't think they. I get the feeling they didn't push that much money behind it in the
It's
first
not
place.
their cash cow.
Right. It's just sort of a small art project.
They had a Super Bowl commercial.
That's Miller Pitt does
They were
Disney.
pushing it before it came out.
Yeah, and it
Yeah, but
didn't-
the thing is, the
do
content
well.
never screamed to me that it's something that's going to be universal. I mean, it's just I don't
Sure,
know. I
I agree.
can't imagine that the board looked at that, even the pilot and said, we got to put our full force behind this. There's just no way. I think they realize what it is, and hopefully
but,
they'll
like,
keep it in its corner. And
if
just let
Deadpool
it-
did mediocre, and then Disney would be like, okay, yeah, we don't need R-rated Deadpool, but it did phenomenal. I mean, Legion's an out there show that got mediocre ratings with the X-Men name on it. It's kind of, I don't know, makes me a little nervous. So.
There's a lot of critic buzz, though. That's the
Yeah.
thing. I think they might keep it for the critic buzz that pops off on it.
Well, and Deadpool not only was it rated R and got great reviews and great reception overall, it actually got Academy Award nominations.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
That is a huge deal.
But
So what do you guys think? Do you think we're going to see, how soon do you think we see the X-Men in the MCU? Are we going to see them
Soon.
in Avengers 4?
Yeah,
I think we'll see at least one person.
maybe Deadpool 2. Maybe Deadpool 2.
How awesome would it be if Deadpool's in Avengers 4?
More interesting
That'd be
question.
awesome.
Who are y'all thinking about? And we were shooting this with me and Vanessa were thinking about it. Who's going to be the next Wolverine now that they have access to virtually anybody they want?
That's a
yeah.
good question.
They're gonna have to bribe Hugh Jackman with like
No, he's
gold.
not going to do it again.
gold-plated
But-
claws.
She said, what's his name? It's going to bug me. He was in True Detective Season 2.
I don't know.
Season 2?
Matthew McConaughey.
No, that's Season 1.
All right.
Colin Farrell. Could you see Colin Farrell's Wolverine?
No.
All right, she said she could.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to see
Could
it.
see a sort of Farrell aspect about him.
Ben Affleck.
All right.
Oh my God.
Because of all the Last Jedi talk, we're going to make News of the Week short. So,
Yeah.
okay, so we reached the point in the show where we like to give shout outs to the YouTube community, to the people who subscribe to us this week and also have YouTube channels. We check them out as we can throughout the week and then recommend them back to you all. So if you're watching the YouTube version of this, please go down into our description, click on the links there. If you're listening to the audio, then yeah, you'd have to head over to youtube.com/GCandC and go into the description of this week's video and show these guys some support because they supported us. We appreciate it. So this week I had one we did grow up some subs, but only have one that shares it, and so his name was Butta Bernie.
Like
Butter
butter.
Bernie.
Yep. So we also had the prestigious name of the month that you win by
Name of the
default.
week. Name of the week.
Congrats, butter.
Name of the
So
month.
congratulations.
But
Congrats, butter.
Butters.
Like butter.
And speaking of all the folks that listen to us audio, and not just audio, but are watching us, we have tons more stuff on our website for links with all our social media fun, including Discord and everything. And you can check that out at gamescomicsandculture.wordpress.com. And we're on Twitter at GCandC. Hit us up.
Oh. Yep. And also, if you want to kick us a few bucks, if you have that in your wheelhouse and you're able to support us, we'd love to do a more improved show for you. You can catch us at patreon.com/GCandC. And also, of course, thank you to Fred Thomas for our opening music and Xee Reiter for our logo.
CC Reiter. It's only Xee Reiter, not CC Reiter.
I know the parentheses, though. I mean, you have to say Xee Reiter.
Thanks, guys. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Last Jedi Spectacular. It's been a while. Just really quick, want to introduce the room. We got myself, Dirk, Jeff, Corey. You know us all. If you watch a lot, then you'll notice Casey sitting up there, looking pretty tight.
Dope.
Jeremy was joined us for the last Star Wars Spectacular, which was the Rogue One Spectacular. So we called him. He gets right of first refusal going forward on all Star Wars Spectaculars.
Show them pogs off.
Yeah,
Show them pogs off.
Porgs.
Porgs.
Not pogs.
Porgs. Yeah, pogs are the little
Pogs.
cylinder things. Oh, look at everybody's got pogs. Porgs. Porgs.
Porgs.
All right. So, anyways, we're going to break this down. We're going to start without spoilers. So just going to go around the group here and kind of discuss everybody's kind of general impressions around it. If you want to get into details that are not story spoilery, then go ahead, sort of thing. And then what score do you give this thing out of 10? 10-point scale, no 0.5s, 10-point scale.
Oh, so only whole integer?
5.
No 0.5s. It's not a 20-point scale, it's a 10-point scale. So I'll just kick it off. I got to say, walked out of this theater exactly the same feelings after Force Awakens for myself. Is basically like my first thoughts as I'm walking out of the theater is like, wow, that was something. And then I like feel like I need to process it and digest it. Like Rogue One was not the case. Walking out of Rogue One, I looked over at the wife and was like, holy shit, that was awesome, don't you think? And she was like, yeah. Like I was like, okay, cool, it's not just me. But these movies, for some reason, I just need to sit there and like think through everything. I came home and started looking at all the reviews online, and I was like, man, critics love this thing. I can't believe everybody actually likes this. And the next morning I woke up and opened up social media, and like all of my friends were shitting on it. So I spent the last like 4 days kind of processing like, okay, how much of my friends are right? What are my thoughts about this? All that. Like, and I got to say, I feel like it didn't blow me away, like I say, when I walked out of the theater, but we're absolutely in an age that's so much better than the prequels that I have to take all of my gripes and just think that they're petty. If I remained a Star Wars fan through the prequels era, then I'm happy with what's going on right now. Like that's in general, right? So this particular, movie, I feel like I love the characters, Rey, Finn, Kylo, Poe more so in this one, and Rose now as well. I like them all. They're great characters. They're great actors. Love the interplay between them. I feel like Mark Hamill, this is the best Mark Hamill's ever been. Those of us that are kind of uber nerds know that Mark Hamill's career got better since the original trilogy, and he's actually, that first Star Wars, A New Hope, he was kind of rough to watch on screen, and nowadays, like I feel like that performance that he put on this movie was great. Like I'm totally happy with it. Better than Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher by a mile, in my opinion, for sure. The movie did have some pandering that didn't bug me because I'm the dude that they're pandering to. I feel like it was too heavy on the CGI. I thought The Force Awakens was better in that regard. That I feel like this movie's not going to age as well because of all the weird creatures that were totally CGI. I've heard a lot of people call it disjointed, which I can kind of get behind. I can kind of see that as well. So, and then my other complaints are stories, Star Wars nerd complaints. But that's my basic thing. Good, not great. I give it an 8 out of 10, to be honest. And I'm happy that I saw a Star Wars movie this week that wasn't the prequels.
I liked it too. I definitely wasn't one of the people who hated it. I kind of walked out of it the same way as Nate did. I wasn't blown away thinking it was the best thing I ever saw, but I had to kind of process it a bit. But I really liked it. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I still really like the characters. I liked most things about it. There were a few nitpicky things. I mean, I didn't like where some of the humor was placed, and just some of the stuff, spoilery, I wasn't too into. But overall, I thought it was a good movie. I walked out of The Force Awakens really liking it, so I think I like The Force Awakens a little bit more. But I'd agree, say 8 out of 10.
Okay, so I gave it a 7 out of 10. I definitely liked The Force Awakens better. I think there was an emotional weight in The Force Awakens that was somewhat missing from this one. And I think that could have been catered to. There were moments in there where if certain things had gone through, that emotional weight might have been presented better or been actually in the film. And I think they missed their moment in some of those scenes. But, I mean, I have issues with it. I find that, the negative crowd is way too negative on it. Mm-hmm. And I think people are also overselling it by saying it's the best thing since Empire. So I'm not in either camp. I'm sort of in the middle where I think it was really good. I mean, there were, fun moments. And I use fun as the word. I can't find another word for it. But I think that it, there were moments that I really, not to get into detail, but there were moments that I really, really enjoyed. And then some moments left me scratching my head. But ultimately, are we doing the placement in context to other Star Wars films right now, or
if you want,
we're waiting for that? Yeah. So I put it. I think Jeff and I were talking about this earlier. Mm-hmm. I think I had Empire, New Hope, and then I put Rogue One third, and then Jedi fourth, then Force Awakens, and then this one. So that's where I'm at. I mean, I really do want to watch it again so I could sort of try to pick up on stuff because I was really drunk when I watched it. And I don't know if that played anything into it. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I was just there just to,
You guys were accusing me of doing acid earlier.
see explosions or whatever. But no, I found that I was really attentive. Even though I was drunk, I was really paying attention and trying to get stuff. So next time I really want to watch it like clean and like try to pick up on stuff that, maybe hints that were dropped or some references to the mythology that maybe I didn't catch the first time around. So I give it a 7. It might improve to an 8. I don't know, but that's where I'm at right now.
Wow. So, I mean, like Nate and Corey, the first time I watched it on Thursday night, I walked out and I didn't know what to think. It at first it felt disjointed, and I was torn because as much as I didn't have expectations, deep down, I had childhood expectations from the original trilogy just based on having Luke back in the movie.
Yeah.
And that whole visage and persona of it's Luke Skywalker and, he's the greatest Jedi Master of all times. And so I was kind of down, and I give it I give it a 9 since we can't do a half point scale. I give it a 9 out of 10.
Oh.
Woo!
I do, but I just watched it like an hour
5
ago.
minutes ago. Yeah.
Oh, I just watched
Yeah.
it again. So the first time I did have expectations, and I found myself having to push those away, and I was trying to watch it, and I was trying to take in everything. And the biggest detractor is I watched it in 3D. Don't watch it in 3D.
No.
You've got to watch it in standard def. You've got to watch it just normal, cinematic style, no 3D, because you don't catch all the details in the background. So I think a lot of fans that negative spewing of how it didn't have a Star Wars-y kind of feel to it. When you watch it in 3D, yeah, you lose a lot of the environment, a lot of the diegetic elements that are within this movie. And watch... Yeah, that's a cinematic word. I mean, if you look at it non-3D, there's so much mise-en-scene that it just blew me away watching it the second time. A lot of homage back to the original trilogy, but it was done tastefully, whereas Force Awakens was pretty much almost a scene-for-scene cut from A New Hope. And I understand why, because he wanted to reboot the genre and get everybody excited again. So go safe. No problem going safe. It's going to appease the fans. It's going to make retribution for the prequels. But like Dirk, I do Empire's New Hope, Rogue One, Jedi, and then Force Awakens and Last Jedi are tied at the end there because they have to stand the test of time too. But I thought it was really well done. I really did. After watching it a second time and catching everything and not worrying about the story because everything was on the table already, I knew what was going on, and I could focus more on the
Minutia.
the more of the interaction between the characters and how they were and bouncing off of each other and not paying attention as much to dialogue, but watching that non-dialogue portion of it. And it was really gripping. I mean, Mark Hamill, yeah, he did an amazing job because he basically played two characters in this movie, if you really think about it. Because he's playing his one character at the beginning of the movie that Rey sees, and later on, he's completely 180. He's the farm boy from Tatooine again.
Yeah.
So are Jeff and I the only two people here that have seen it twice, or has anybody else seen it twice?
I've not seen it twice.
I've seen it tomorrow for the second time.
We I like Dirk. The first time I saw it, I had been drinking. We went to an 11:30 p.m. Thursday show at a bar theater, and my wife and I had what was called the Jedi juice, which was citrus vodka, triple sec, blue curacao, and champagne.
That's awesome.
That was fantastic. Much better than
Jedi juice.
than their Death Star drink, which was vodka, Jägermeister, triple sec, whiskey, and Coke. I think
Wow.
that's a prequel drink. I think that's really sounds terrible. So we saw it at 11:30. We got out of there at 2:30 in the morning and drove home, and then I saw it the next day. I had rented out a theater for work, so all my coworkers and I and family came to that. So that was kind of two completely different experiences seeing it. One just with a late night first night, people who are really excited to go and see it, and they don't care that it's a 2.5 hour long movie at 11:30. They're just going to see it. It's Star Wars. And then the next is a bunch of nerds that work at a board game company that makes Star Wars games, and it's two different excited groups and two different ways of seeing it. And after the first one, I think I would have said like a 6 or 7, but after the second viewing, I was all in, and I mean, I think it's a solid 8 or 9 for me. Mm-hmm. I think it went places that Star Wars hasn't really gone since Empire. Yeah. it kind of subverted what we think, how we think it should go. Luke in the trailer and in the film says this isn't going to go the way you think it is, and it's absolutely true.
Exactly.
There was a whole bunch of situations where I was just kind of, well, I bet this is going to happen now, and I bet this is going to happen now, and in none of those cases, and we're not in the spoiler part of it yet, so I won't go into those.
Right.
but in none of those situations did the easy thing take place.
Yeah.
It was never the super obvious thing that I assumed would happen, and I was kind of thrilled beyond measure because I wasn't. It was like being a kid again and being 6 years old and seeing Empire, and it's like, what? Do you mean the bad guys win?
Yeah.
What is happening? And the more I think about it and the more I argue with people online about it, the more all in I am and the happier I am with this movie.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. Cool.
This movie was something I was looking forward to for 2 years, and I had theorized so many amazing ideas and things behind it, and I think that sort of hindered it to some degree. But I will say this: the movie takes a million chances. It does some really interesting things with the chances it takes, and it does some really piss poor things with the chances it takes. It uses comedy in a great way, and then it uses comedy in a really gross, awful way. So I have not seen the film twice because I was invited to see it tonight, and I skipped it to talk about Star Wars with you fuckers. So,
Wow.
yeah, I know. I'm like a good guy or whatever. But I really enjoyed the film. As soon as the Lucasfilm comes across the screen, I mean, you turn 6 years old again, right? Mm-hmm. So from then on, I was just completely elated to be in a theater with nerds watching Star Wars on opening night at the first fucking showing I could possibly see unless you were part of the press. And I was very, very excited. However, I did walk out underwhelmed about certain parts. The more I thought about certain parts, the more they bothered me. The more Finn's storyline, the meandering side plots that sort of become a zero factor later on bothered me. But I will say this. Everything that had to do with what you were looking forward to from The Force Awakens was amazing. Mm-hmm. There weren't all the payoffs you wanted, and your theories, they're blown to shit. If this is an NCAA bracket for March Madness, okay, nobody got this shit right, and I'll say that beyond a reasonable doubt. Like, unless you're Ryan fucking Johnson, you don't know what the fuck happens in this movie. Yeah. Even Mark Hamill playing Luke Skywalker said he didn't quite agree with some of the chances they took in this movie, but I feel like on the whole it paid off. The parts that bothered me were very small. I'd say 85% of the film I liked a lot. So I would give it an 8.5, but Darth Nader over here said I can't give 2.5.
Nope.
So I'm going to give it an 8. And I'm going to say that this movie is a great answer to The Force Awakens in the way that it is not formulaic at all. And I feel like the film was so good in the parts that it really nails that you don't really question while you're watching it any of the minutia of the plan. And there are 4 moments, I would say, in this movie that drop my jaw into my lap. And those 4 moments are the moments that us nerds live for.
Right?
Agreed. Yeah, definitely agreed. All right. So with that, we're going to go for the spoilers here. If you have not seen the movie yet, this is where check out and come back after you've seen it. Let's kick this off. Kind of want to pick the movie apart a little bit. Took it into different pieces. We're gonna start out, kind of chronologically, but feel free to jump around however you guys want in within your own topics and whatnot. Me and Jeremy we're gonna kick it off with basically just the opening of the movie, and then the whole Rebels, the Rebel team. In Acts 1 and 2 of this movie, basically, where the chase scene that Casey was just talking about took place.
The only thing that came true for my prediction for this movie was the opening. It was the crawl, and then it was space, and then it panned down to a space battle.
right.
I call it
that one.
because that's how every movie starts.
Yeah.
That's not a bold prediction at all.
That's a pretty safe gamble. Yeah.
Pretty sure there's gonna be a laser sword in this film. But go on.
Laser sword.
So, Jeremy, what do you think about the beginning and that kind of portion of the setting?
I think it was solid. I think that I was kind of afraid that it was going to go into that it was going to start right at the end of Force Awakens. That we were going to pan down to Octo, and it was going to be they were still going to be staring at each other from 2 years ago. But so I'm glad they played with time there, so the timelines don't necessarily line up exactly. I really dug. I dug the fact that, yep, we gotta get out of here. We managed to blow up this big super weapon, and they're gonna hunt us down again, and we have to be on the run once again. I thought that while this was one of, I think, the best shot Star Wars movies of all time, from cinematography standpoint, I mean, it was beautiful.
Yes.
I thought that the one shot that I really, really disliked was the going down and seeing all the ships coming up from the original Rebel base. I thought that was kind of hokey.
Yeah.
But I think I loved the humor of Poe just giving the needle to Hux.
Yeah, you totally
he's-
trolled him.
General Leia wants to talk to him. Something about his mother, I think that he's just, a lot of people thought that he was going to be just too much of a Han Solo clone, of this roguish, wisecracking kind of guy, but he goes so much further in it. He doesn't have a lot of, and it just kind of shows it. He doesn't have a lot of respect for really anyone except for Leia, and even then, that has its limits. His attitude that he knows what's best is what kills him.
Wait, Poe died?
What ruins everything.
His failure.
Yeah, well, that literally kills him. But I thought that the bombardier scene was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was badass.
The thing that people are picking apart is like, oh, bombs don't fall in space. It's like, it's Star Wars. They're a little different. It's okay. And I think too that they're probably, they push out the bombs. They push out the bombs, and then inertia takes care of the rest, and it's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that Poe had this really weird kit-bashed engine that he'd worked on, so he could do these like super fast, crazy maneuvers as well. And then of course his ship just blows up, so he doesn't have it anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I liked BB-8 being that just kind of the spiritual successor to R2, fixing everything necessary, and doing it but doing it in a different way.
Well, because the finger in a dam trick doesn't work in that way.
Yeah.
I do got to say that I thought that the movie did lack in the R2-D2 department. Like, I like BB-8 and all.
Oh, sure.
Like, give me some more R2 for sure.
And
3PO, wipe that terrified look off your face.
We'll
Nervous.
see. I mean, we'll see how that goes. I mean, the idea that it's these 9 movies are the story of the Skywalkers, but they're kind of told by R2-D2 and C-3PO, kind of went out the window.
It did, yeah.
With the Force Awakens, but all in all, I'm fine with it. Folks showing up when they show up. I thought R2 had a great scene with Luke on the Falcon, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's where it needs to be.
Yeah. I feel like the whole Poe like bombing run, like to me, I really liked the fact that was the wrong call. And he got called out on it, but his enthusiasm is so strong that it's not. He's going to do it anyways, and convince everybody around him to do it with him. Like basically everybody disobeyed Leia at the end of that when she's like, "No, stop, turn around," and you know when he comes back and gets demoted, that it's like, yeah, how many people just died? Like, so you could blow up a ship. Like they've got a bunch of other ships out there, you know. So it's cool. You know, Poe had a lot of those kind of whatever learning moments or whatnot, but I just thought that it all played out so well, you know. Yeah. So that I guess, and the other thing else that I would say is just it interesting that most of the movie is just played out and like it's almost like you see two ships on an ocean like chasing each other down, like if you watch old like naval, you know, battle movies or whatnot, you know. Just thought that was really cool. And the flip side of that, like you can't think too much about the physics of anything. Like when they gave the explanation of why the Empire couldn't catch up to them, and when you think like, okay, the Empire's got plenty of gas, why don't they just light speed in front of them and then come back? You know, there's a million things if you want to pick it apart with that you can, but just again, I'm going with it at this point. I don't care. I'm not gonna do that.
Even Spider-Man said that Captain America's shield doesn't obey the laws of physics, but no one fucking cares. It's cool.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I like the fact that, you know, it's Star Wars is always, you know, unless you have an interdictor cruiser, you know, there's not a lot you can do with being super precise with hyperspace.
Yeah.
It's Star Trek with, you know, Picard maneuvers of mini jumps that get in your, you know, that get precisely where you need to go.
And to bring Star Trek into it.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, you know, Star Wars is more of, okay, we really have to figure out where, you know, precisely where we're going, and we can't just go there.
Right.
You know, Han goes into great detail in the first movie about you know, what might happen if you aim incorrectly, and we find out what happens later in the film.
Right.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Right. That was fucking awesome.
All right, so don't jump that far ahead yet. So,
I'm sorry, but it was
we'll
awesome.
move on. Like, while all this is going on, of course, Rey's on her Luke to Dagobah trip, only going to Luke. So,
never gone back,
Corey and Jeff walk us through that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I don't know. I thought it was funny. We finally see Rey hand him the lightsaber and he tosses it. That was not what I expected at all to happen after that. But I don't know. I like the whole thing. I didn't think the milk was that bad of an issue.
It was deeply disturbing to me.
Where's Casey?
I mean, you gotta milk. You gotta get milk somewhere.
His face was funny too.
It was an homage to Aunt Beru. Come on, that's what it was.
Yeah, what do you?
A
I don't
really
even
gross
know.
one.
Oh, at least it didn't give birth. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like the whole scene. Sony, Luke wouldn't train her at first. I don't know. You're more fresh on it, Jeff. You want to walk it through it?
Well, I thought it was. That's why I'm glad I watched it in non-3D this second time, because if I started noticing the subtle details. So like when Luke reaches out with his robotic hand, you can see the score mark on his hand from when he got shot in the hand on Jabba's sail barge in Return of the Jedi. That was in there.
Oh, really?
I thought that was awesome because they did such a close-up. They did such a close-up of his hand grasping the saber. There had to be a reason for it, and I saw the score mark, and then I had to, think back, and it was from when he got shot in the hand on the sail barge. But I liked the reunion. I like that play between Rey and Luke, because he didn't say anything for the first little bit, and he's more of, he doesn't know who she is, And I think a lot of people went into this thinking, well, he's got to know. He's known what happened, with Han dying and everything that's happened, and he should know who Rey is. And he just looks at her like, who the hell are you? Why'd they send you? And he asks her, why'd they send you? Who are you? And you find out that he actually shut himself off from the Force, and that makes a lot of sense why he didn't know anything that was going on. I love the fact that after he tosses the lightsaber and the porgs sit there making all this. I was kind of hoping that they'd turn it on and kill that one. I thought that would have been cool. And but then they do that shot of his X-wing laying in the water, so that makes you like, well, why is it there? And he can just get it out anytime. Was it like a storage place? What? So they couldn't find it? But
can't dock anywhere.
It was kind of like Luke. I thought at first Luke was giving her the same treatment that Yoda gave him when he went to train with Yoda. Yoda's like, nope, I'm too old, and you're too young and reckless. But it was truly, you find out that it's because he feels so remorseful and such a failure for what happened with training Kylo Ren, and you got to give him credit because he didn't have any support to start up a new Jedi Order. He had himself, and that was it. He had nothing to go on. He had a few he had Yoda, and he had Ben. And it wasn't until Yoda comes back, and I'm so glad it was Empire Strikes Back Yoda and not the prequel Yoda.
Yeah, totally.
And it was voiced by Frank Oz, so there was continuity in that whole thing. And watching Yoda, I loved how he called him young Luke.
Young Skywalker, yeah.
Young
Skywalker, yeah.
And I was like, that is awesome. And that's where you see Luke change back to the Luke on Dagobah.
Right.
And he wants to burn that tree with all the books. And Yoda's talking shit, saying, a great a page turner they are not. And
right.
And everything that Yoda said, and you think back to what Yoda said, I take this movie the same way, where he said, you have to unlearn what you have learned.
Yeah.
And that's basically the theme of the movie. Chewie, it was funny.
And
Kill the
there's
past.
nothing in there that she doesn't already have.
Yeah.
And she already had the books.
And
So
she did take the books. She did take the books. You see those later. And Yoda knew that. I thought that it showed great immense power for Yoda with the Force, where he just lifts his finger, lightning strikes the tree. So you could almost see it as Force lightning, but using nature to do it instead of coming from his fingertips.
Yeah.
And then Luke seeing Chewie, you kind of expected that. Chewie came in, busted the door down, because Luke wasn't answering the door for nobody.
Yeah.
Chewie was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It was easy for Luke to say no to Rey.
Yeah. And then he's like, Chewie. But I thought it was great. I liked that.
Chewie's scene with the porgs was awesome.
Dude, that was so funny. That did pander to like the young kids with all the memes of bad cat faces. But him about to eat that porg.
That was funny. For sure.
But I think that was the same thing as when Chewie was embraced by the Ewoks, because they're sitting there like petting his hair in Return of the Jedi and stuff like that. But I went in there expecting Luke was going to be like, oh, a new Jedi, I'm going to train you. And I was pissed at first when he was an asshole and cranky old man. But watching it again and really paying attention, it made sense. It made complete sense why he was that way.
Yeah.
Because he thought he had ultimately failed with Kylo, and it was more failure to his sister is really what it was.
Right.
Yeah. And it's funny how the trailer made it look like he was giving her like Jedi training there, and really like that was clearly not. That was just her messing around with lightsaber on her own, and like that trailer like made people make so many theories. Like they totally did that shit on purpose, and like then you see it play out in the movie, and you're like, fuckers.
Well, then you see Ray scared the shit out of Luke when she was getting ready to leave, and they start fighting a little bit with the staff, and he just takes her staff away, and then she grabs his lightsaber, and all of a sudden he stops himself, and you could tell that he had reconnected to the Force at that point, and
holding himself up from the ground.
that was.
What do you think about Rey seeing herself in the mirror?
I like that, even though
Maybe Rey's actually a clone of herself.
Trippy.
I mean, if you want to talk about race, which I can sort of wait for Ray parent discussion because I think Dirk and Casey are going to talk about that. But the mirror was actually, it looked like it was a callback to, it was homage to Harry Potter. It really was.
Excalibur.
I don't know. All right, so
I like the mirror scene. The mirror scene was fucking cool. Just the way they shot it, that was awesome.
So Dirk and Casey, let's move forward from that.
One more.
What? Go
thing.
ahead.
They did finally get the physics of space right when Poe does that. He does a 180, turns and goes back. He uses that inertia to go stop in space and then go.
That drifted in space. That was so
He
sick.
drifted.
It was awesome.
All right.
Camino drift.
So Dirk and Casey, if you guys want to take us through, basically starting off, because a lot of this happened while she was on the island still, is, the relationship that Rey and Kylo had in this movie.
Can we talk about through the Snoke scene?
You go all the way, whatever you want. Yeah.
There's a
You got it,
Snoke
Dirk.
scene. Yeah.
Go for it.
So, from what I remember, this was my favorite element of the film. The milk? No, not the milk. The relationship between Rey and Ren. I found that, up to a point, before Snoke was offed, there was a sort of a moral ambiguity going on with Kylo, where we didn't really know his intention for a while. We didn't know what was going to happen with him. We didn't know where Rey stood for a little bit. I mean, I didn't think she would turn, but there was some exchanges there where it just felt like it wasn't as clearly defined as some other chunks of the movie. And I'm always with films, I like the gray. I don't like the black and white. So the less defined, the better. Yeah, that's what I got to say about that. I need to watch it again.
So the Rey and Kylo Ren relationship, to me, did a lot of things for the film. It was definitely also my favorite part, and I remember thinking several times through other storylines I'll get to later that I wish I could just get more of the good stuff. Like, let's get back to the good thing. Like,
Yes.
it's like you got to eat your steak, but you got to also eat your vegetables. And every bite of broccoli, I'm just staring at that steak. Like, can I get back to my steak, please? And the Kylo Ren and Rey connection was amazing. And obviously, we find out later that it was created a force bridge through their consciousness with Snoke, and it was a way to kind of show Kylo's weakness and also draw Rey to him, which was very intelligent. I love that element. I love the way this film plays with what the Force can do. Mm-hmm. At one point, they're seeing each other, they're hearing each other, they're talking to each other, but then it gets more than that. It becomes way, way more than that. And at one point, Kylo Ren has rainwater on his jacket and on his head from being where Rey was. They touch each other. There's almost like this romantic connection with each other because they're opposite sex, and it's kind of easily inferred, unless you think the whole sibling thing is still a thing, but it's not.
Right.
But I really enjoyed the way they played with the Force, the way they showed you how powerful of a cosmic connection it is. If it is truly the thing that connects all living things in the universe, then their connection in the film makes complete and utter sense. Right. Not only that, but he's conflicted, and he creates conflict within herself. He also is the key to her finding out her parentage and the key to Snoke's demise, which are two of the major theories that most people were kicking around for the last 2 years.
Right.
I can't say enough for the acting of Adam Driver as Kylo Ren. I feel like
Absolutely.
the main thing that pisses me off about people that shit talk The Force Awakens is them saying that Kylo Ren's like an emo, My Chemical Romance drinking bitch. I can't solidify that with an argument because it's ridiculous. We've been looking for an Anakin played by a good actor, and that's what Kylo Ren is.
Absolutely.
He has the conflict, but instead of being drawn to the dark, he's drawn to the light. He has so many elements to his character. There are things we've never seen before, and as a Star Wars fan, I'm very grateful for the amount of discipline and amount of love they give to that, and the fact that they really try to show you something you've never seen before in a respectful, amazing way. And Rey is also going through her journey, and just the way that they're connected is great. The Snoke scene, one of my top 4 moments in the movie, probably my favorite moment of the movie. And I agree with Dirk that the ambiguity of their connection leads to a point where one of them has to make a decision that the other one has already made.
Yep.
And we don't know that until it happens, and it's beautiful the way it plays out.
I have a question for you, Casey. Do you think that after he finds out about the connection from Snoke, do you think it's easy for him to just dismiss it outright, his relationship, his sort of connection that he's had with her, and to just turn his back on it and go full throttle?
I think the connection makes his decision stronger. That connection, if anything, Snoke dug his own fucking grave with that connection, because he finds something in Rey that he would never have with Snoke. He found a peer. He found someone he could teach. He's never wanted to be Vader to Palpatine. He wanted to be Vader without Palpatine, and now he doesn't have one. So it's a perfect connection, but it's a new version of what we've already seen. Imagine Vader with no fucking leash, no Tarkin, no Emperor, just off the fucking rails, and not like 30 years after Padme died, like a week after Padme died. The conflict is still there because he didn't kill Leia, and he could have. And there's a lot of play there they can do with. So this movie, in one sense, answers so many questions, and in another sense, creates more than it answers.
Yeah, and also to piggyback on that, I initially, after seeing it, really hated the fact that Snoke went out the way that he did initially. But when you explain it that way, that in a way, it answers where Kylo is developing towards, then it makes it a lot easier to handle. I had flashbacks to Darth Maul, because I felt like we were getting a great, mastermind behind the scenes or whatever, like a solid villain that was taken out too soon. But if it fits into the evolution of Kylo as this new sort of more complex character, then I'm all for it. I mean,
it does that. And also, one last small point. When you show a villain with that much power, you have to get rid of them. Yeah. Just like they did with the Emperor. Right. As soon as he used lightning, he was fucking down this fucking drain cellar. Like, he was exploding. Yeah. Like, you can't have a villain that powerful around, because it doesn't give you a personal conflict. Instead, it gives you the supernatural element that is like this immense power you have to overcome that you can't. And instead, it gives us a much more personal connection between our new villain and our new hero.
Yep, and I think we might be building up to and I don't want to make this analogy just in terms of the old trilogy, but the third film in this might be the best of the 3.
Yeah, it's building that way. It's building that way.
The only other thing that I would add is that I really loved how in the days when Snoke was still in charge, how Hux really Snoke really kind of leaned favoriting him, and kind of talk shit to Kylo to try and get Kylo to toughen up or whatever. And the second that he was gone, and Hux tried to be like, "Oh well, I'm in charge, right?" Like Kylo was like, "No, you are not in charge."
I'll say this too. This is a Skywalker saga. And unless Kylo Ren goes Grinch mode and his heart grows 3 sizes and he puts a baby in Rey, there's no Skywalkers after Episode 9, friends.
Right?
No baby in Rey.
All right, so we got to move along.
I just wanted to jump on that real quick there, because I think what it also shows is that Kylo really learned from Snoke in that kind of relationship that Snoke had with him, because instantly when it's done, he is now totally negging Rey,
Yeah.
And he's saying, well, who are your parents? Well, they're nobodies.
Yeah.
They're no.
Yeah.
He kind of who's to know that whether or not that's actually true. He's kind of like leading her down that path. And while he's asking her to join him and be his partner, they'll be equals, but I'll always be a little more equal than you because I have great lineage and you got nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
I wish that wasn't true, but she kind
I
of
just
admits
really
it's true.
love that part a lot.
Yeah, when he says you already know it, like I feel like it's
She's like one tear down the cheek. Yeah, I know.
yeah.
And what happened in the
Yeah.
game.
It makes sense, though.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
She's
that,
trailer park trash.
it makes sense. It makes sense because Anakin was, well, Immaculate Conception, supposedly. But you think about Luke didn't know who he was, so he was coming in as a moisture farmer on Tatooine, hanging out at the Tashi station. So it makes sense that greatness comes from the most weird, obscure
Well,
places.
they echo it at the end of the film too.
All right, we got to move. We got to move along. We got to move
Just
along.
keep on sleeping.
Let's go the next kind of chunk, and this is what I've seen the most divisiveness online about. It seems like is the casino storyline. And so want to talk about that. Want to talk about Finn's kind of plan in general there, and Poe too. That they both teamed up with that, and then also Del Toro, and his character and whatnot, how that all came into play. So let's Corey and Casey walk us through that one.
Go ahead, Corey.
Yes. You can lead it off. I feel like you're way more hyped about it than me.
Okay, well, first of all, when I walked out of this film, I started talking, and I couldn't stop talking the entire drive home, which was about 35 minutes. And the one thing I could not stop fucking talking about was how Finn's storyline had a zero fucking factor. A, he tries to leave to save Rey. It doesn't work. He tries to find the Master Codebreaker. It doesn't work. He tries to go stop the tracker on the Star Destroyer. It doesn't fucking work. And then, guess what he tries to do at the end? A beautiful, heroic act, which would have really solidified his character in the Star Wars ethos. He tries to destroy this Death Star cannon thing they have that's going to break the fucking door. And guess what? It doesn't work. So Finn doesn't do shit except for get a love interest that he's like mediocre interested in. And the whole casino thing, like, oh, cruelty to animals. Fucking who gives a shit? This is Star Wars. Get back to good shit. I was bored. I was irritated. I was like, I don't care if Luke sucks 19 nipples of that thing. I want to see more blue milk scenes before I see more casino scenes. It was bullshit.
Right.
I was mad, and that fucking killed it for me.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't think it was that bad. Honestly, I thought Del Toro was cool.
I liked his character. Yeah,
I liked his character.
His stutter really made his character punch out. It was so great.
But yeah, I mean, I just thought it was funny that the whole plan didn't work. Yeah. But I mean,
Which one?
I thought that was the plan to get the code breaker and everything. But I thought that was kind of cool because
They always work in the past.
because plans always work.
Yeah.
When do they ever spend time on a plan that doesn't work? I mean, they showed that he tried, and I mean,
It showed that
I definitely didn't expect that. Like,
he should have died though.
I thought the horse things were cool.
They look at The Last Guardian. Don't they look at The Last
did.
Guardian?
Yes,
Trico.
totally.
Or the never-ending story.
Falcor. All the Falcors.
But yeah, I don't know. I was okay with. I didn't hate it like everyone else. I didn't think it was awesome, but I didn't mind that the plan failed because plans always work. You never just see a plan fail and then have to do something different. Like I thought
He should have died. Be honest.
I got more gripes with this whole Finn storyline thing, and that's that I'm going to compare Captain Phasma to Boba Fett. Now hear me out. Boba Fett was introduced in a parade and had a really cool costume. He was the most sold character from the toy set, and then he comes out. He has a few lines of dialogue. He seems really badass, but then he dies in a terrible, aloof way
Right.
by an accident. Now, what does that remind you of with
Return of the
Phasma?
Jedi is just rebel propaganda. Come on, that
Really
doesn't
cool
happen.
looking, has a few cool lines of dialogue, is a zero factor. Like, does nothing. Boba Fett doesn't even really catch Han Solo. He just puts a tracker and then tells Darth Vader where the fuck he is and then collects his bounty. Like, he looks cool, and I love Boba Fett. I have shirts with his fucking, face on it, but I'll tell you what, he was a bitch. Captain Phasma was a bitch. They both went a bitch. Okay? It didn't take a blind man this time. It just took an actual accident. And I was really pissed off because I was like, dude, you know what? They fucked up in the first movie. They're going to make it better. Phasma's going to have a nice storyline.
Nope.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fuck yourself.
I was disappointed in Phasma's storyline.
They do that.
Shit.
All the cool-looking characters, that's what happens. Don't
Right.
look cool in Star Wars.
So
The
let's
book is
let's
fantastic.
Go, the Phasma book.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I
amazing.
bet it is.
All right, so Jeff and Dirk, why don't you take us through the that final scene on the salt planet there and
Kick it
kinda-
off, Shriner.
Yeah.
I like the Salt Planet. I think it was very much just calling back to the Battle of Hoth. Everything with the white sand. I love that it was white salt. It was the planet Crate. For those that don't know, planet Crate, and it was all
red
salt.
salt.
No, it was salt, and then there was that red crystal. It was a mineral planet.
Salt.
Yeah. So that's why it looked like it was snowing, and you had the crystal creatures, as they called them. But
Crystal foxes, yeah.
Vulpix.
and it was
But I thought the red stuff was the salt.
no, that
the
was
white.
that was
They
all
wipe the white
crystal.
away, and you see the red under it.
Yeah, that's why
Okay.
I think one of my favorite cinematic scenes in that is on that planet. When Kylo is facing off with the Force projection of Luke Skywalker,
Yeah.
and he goes for that final cut through right through the center, and you see him run past him, and then it cuts to his feet sliding, and it's just a smear of red. I thought that was fucking awesome. How they shot
Yeah.
that whole scene.
Did
Yeah.
you notice
Oh, yeah.
Luke's feet don't show any red because he's
Yeah.
not actually there.
Yeah,
Right.
he's not actually there.
That was-
And
yeah.
his lightsaber is blue, and the hilt that he had was
Yep.
the lightsaber that Rey had just destroyed with Kylo back up on the Snook ship. So,
And his beard was all brown and shit.
and he was skinnier
Just
too.
for men.
Yeah,
He
did
was-
look
He was
different.
from from Kylo's vision where he brought the temple down on him. Yeah.
Yes. So I love that whole scene with them bringing back and saying, okay, this is going to be like the Battle of Hoth again because you had antiquated equipment. They had to modify to try and take out some walkers. But
Yeah.
those new walkers, I think they're AT-MTs, I think is the designation. for
Gorilla
them.
Walker. Yeah.
They're so massive because they had AT-ATs actually on that battlefield too, and they were just dwarfed by this mammoth thing. And that face-off with, that's where I talked about Luke being the cranky old crotchety Jedi Master hermit that wants to die on Achu. I think that's the name of it. And
Achoo!
What?
Bless you.
Gesundheit.
but on that one he was cranky old Jedi, and then when he does his Force production, and it's more to see Leia again and give her hope is all that really was. And he winks at 3PO, which is like, I got this. And because I think 3PO knew what was going down. He knew it was not really there. But I lost my train of thought.
The one thing was, well,
Oh,
I'll interrupt you for half a second. Like, they were at an old Rebel base, like from the original trilogy or whatnot. So I love that when they tried to take the equipment that was there and use it, that it was such pieces of shit.
Yeah, it's funny.
It was
You could,
so
and in
cool
the
how much
trailer,
shaking around and stuff. It was great.
Yeah.
Okay.
in the
It's
trailer,
like
you
they
thought those were
I
like
think-
sweet spaceships, and then
Right.
when you see them, yeah,
Pose like that.
He
Dude,
kicks
this movie
his
should have
foot.
been called A New Hope.
It was
That's
a
what it
63 All-State. Just
Right, right.
Then he kicks his foot through the panel on the like a little skim speed.
yes.
That was great.
Awesome.
They didn't even
But-
have tops. It was convertible.
No, I know.
Must
They
have
didn't
been
need
cold.
top. But Luke was different. He was more of that boyish kind of farm boy kind of feel at the end there. But then he was a Jedi Master, all powerful.
Yeah.
Projection.
Perfection. Yeah.
And Kylo just unleashes everything on there. Just totally annihilates that spot. I want that spot on that planet dead right fucking now.
I love that he's scared of him because like we never seen the villain who's scared. It gives him so much more layer.
It does.
Yep.
And you know, just when Kylo finally realized that he's been duped completely for them to escape, it was just like Ben Kenobi did. And then you cut back to Luke on that island, and he's just concentrating so much floating, and you know, he finally releases his force meditation, and he crawls back up. And the last scene where he sees both the suns, it looks like, of Tatooine again. It was I was almost in tears, literally, from that.
Yeah.
Because it was great. But I loved it that Rey. I love that little joke where Rey's like, "Oh, lifting rocks, huh?" And she lifts all those rocks to open up that back entrance to get them out of there. And you also got to see the Millennium Falcon come back in and just annihilate TIE fighters again. And Rey's just like Luke
They hate
on
that
the
ship.
gunner. Yeah. Even Kylo's like, blow that piece of junk.
Yeah.
The trash will do.
That line stuck out. Yeah.
Well, and that's part of the whole. You know, you killed your dad, and he's always going to be with you.
Yeah.
So he's just trying to get rid of anything left of his dad.
I love that line by Luke. He's like, "You kill me in anger, I'm going to be with you forever, like a bad fucking habit."
I thought that's for a second. I thought that's what happened. Like Luke had been a ghost the whole time. Like, what's that Bruce Willis
Sixth
movie?
Sense.
Yeah,
Sixth Sense.
I was thinking.
I see dead people.
Go back. Everything
yeah.
Luke touches is red and kind of cold.
Right.
Well,
No, I thought for a second. You know, I didn't process it really quickly, but I was thinking like, wait, has he been a ghost the entire time? But yeah. No, I thought cinematically it was the most gorgeous piece of the film. Outside of Snoke's like completely smoking room.
Yeah.
That
Gonna be my
throne
new
room
bedroom.
was,
The
that throne room
Mustafar
was
scene.
sick. Wait, what?
Well, at the end there, after when Rey and Kylo are fighting the Praetorian Guard after Snoke's been sliced and diced,
Yeah, that room.
you know, and they set that red banner on fire, and it's all just coming down. It's sort of like Mustafar with the lava spewing, and Obi-Wan's taking on Anakin. Is what I thought of.
It's like a
Mustafa.
rebirth.
Mustafar.
Yeah, like
Musaka.
Not
I think
Mustafar.
Musaka's very tasty as well.
man.
So
I
I'll
don't know why
end
they
it on
nerfed
this.
the Jedi so much.
I'll finish on in Salt Planet. I felt like with Finn, I was worked up to a climactic moment, and I was not allowed to complete the deed. If you know what I just
Not by a girl
Sorta.
again.
yeah.
He did
Right.
get kind of a shitty kiss though at the end, where he didn't seem into it at all.
No.
I was ready to feel that moment too. I was like, shit, man, they take him out. You know, I was like, this sucks.
I just liked I liked Dirk. I thought for sure he was going to die too, and he didn't. It's just another thing in this movie that's not going to go the way that you think it is. Like,
Right?
it was
I-
the running
I
theme.
totally-
But that would have been better than a shitty kiss, but with the girl that we don't care about.
I totally thought that was where Luke was going to make his appearance. He was going to come down in an X-wing, drop a couple of proton torpedoes into that cannon, and save everybody. But
They're no bigger than a wump rat.
that's what I was thinking was going to happen. That would be the big yay cheer thing, like when Han came back at the end of A New Hope,
Yeah.
and it totally was different, and it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. Well, hey, Luke would have came back in like a T-16. I think the movie should have ended to credits when the Millennium Falcon went into light speed into hyperspace. It should have went into hyperspace, disappeared, credits, and then do the kid with the force-sensitive broom, the sorceress from Fantasia. That was Disney.
All right.
No post-credit
wanna
scenes in
move-
Star
wanna move
Wars.
past, like, yeah, I'm down with there not being post-credit scenes as well. I agree. So just want
Ray's parentage was bullshit, by the way.
talk a little bit more about like how this movie treated the Force in general, because it makes some drastic changes around here as well. So me and Jeremy kind of close it out with that. The a few different things that I'll just run down. So the Leia scene. You know, depending on how you interpret that, I've seen that
Star-Lord.
interpreted a couple different ways. Really liked kind of Luke's explanation about the Force. The when he sat down with Rey and was explaining how it's the tension between things and not a thing itself.
Feel
So,
it.
you know, it again, bringing it into gray and not black and white like it always has been.
Yeah.
I liked, you know, how he basically said, look, these Jedi, you know, what good are the Jedi? Like, he made a convincing argument. The Jedi fucked everything up. This is why, you know, we don't need Jedi. The Force is
They're
what
arrogant.
it is. The Jedi just kind of are playing with it. And, you know, for whatever reason, that didn't work out great. Thought that the, you know, he made a convincing story for that. And you know, it kind of, to my mind, the whole thing that happened with him and Kylo going to that planet and whatnot, I read this somewhere else, is that it made Star Wars sad for me, because after Return of the Jedi, that's a happily ever after ending, right?
Yeah.
Like, they beat the bad ones, there's all this hope, everybody's partying, let's go out and start a new galaxy. It turns out that all of them had really shitty lives after that point.
Yeah.
Like, really bad. So yeah, that is what it is. So then we talked about the Force mind link stuff. Force Ghost Yoda, who can touch things and shoot lightning out of the sky. Like, can these Force Ghosts just show up anywhere, whenever, and do crazy shit with the Force? Like,
Why don't they fight every battle?
I mean, Obi-Wan.
They're like the Eagles from Lord of the Rings.
As a Force ghost.
what did
Obi-Wan he sat down on a log.
Yeah.
Why would he sit down on a log?
Yeah, I guess you're
can
right there. Yep, I guess you're
You
right.
can touch things. You know, you can touch corporal things when you're non-corporal in Star Wars. I think it's
Sure.
Roll a
Why not
20.
Eagle Force Ghost?
I think it's pretty
dice.
consistent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
roll a
Force-
20 on that.
Force Ghost dice.
Snoke, just the amount of power that Snoke had, for us knowing nothing about him or his history. You know, I mean, clearly he was doing stuff. You know, when Kylo kind of stepped up to him, he boom, like, shut him down instantly. You know, and just the way he was throwing Rey around, you know,
And
uncomfortably
where are the Knights of Ren?
strong in the Force. Yeah, who are the Knights of Ren? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But,
Five other ones.
and then the final thing is, like, this movie made it real clear, and I think the reason why Rey's parents really are nobodies is that they got rid of this kind of the whole noble bloodline side of the Force, between Rey coming from nobodies and the kid at the end who's obviously using the Force or whatnot. You know, they're showing, I've always thought that when you take, like, the Skywalker bloodline and that it's got to be people's kids that have the Force, you know what I mean? That's always been kind of gross from the get-go. So for them to take that and throw that in the garbage, I think, is important for, you know, the future movies and where they're going to go with this. You know,
They're gonna
it's
end
not
it.
just these
Well, so,
descendants, that
I mean,
there are Jedis all over the place.
I mean, Obi-Wan says, in you know, it flows through all living things.
Yeah.
And it's just a question of who can control it or not. And yeah, midichlorians, whatever, fuck you. But, you know, it's just there are Force sensitive people in the world, and yeah, some people are better at it than others. You know, I was saying today, you know, people, why is Rey so much better than this Force user? Why is this Force user? And it's like, why is Mickey Mantle better than Joe Mauer? You know, they both play baseball. They're different. It's different people from different times who have different training regimens, and they're both successful, but they're successful in different ways. I really liked the fact that it kind of quietly shows that Leia has been using the Force very subtly,
Right.
Yeah.
probably these last 30 years. Not only just, you know, keeping an eye on her, you know, keeping track of her family.
Yeah.
Like you give your kids one of those cheap phones to, but there's a early on when Paige falls down the bomber shaft, and she's trying to kick that the armor. It goes back to Leia, and I think that's trying to say that Leia is seeing this, and Leia is subtly using the Force to try and help Paige knock that down and grab it.
Yeah,
can
I've
see
heard a
that.
lot of people say that, like, that scene was, that the big Leia scene was the Force saving her, and I
Yes.
like to think the opposite of that. That it was that Leia's as strong as Luke is, and
Yes.
she just
Yep.
doesn't need to go beat people with lightsabers. She's the general.
Right.
She's guiding the
Yep.
whole army and
Well-
knows what's going on the entire time. Like that's my interpretation. That
Yeah,
she
it doesn't
and then-
show.
That was my
She
one
was
prediction going into
as
this movie.
powerful as her brother, but she had to run a galaxy.
right.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
She had responsibilities that she didn't cop out of. Her brother decided to go and be this powerful warrior / monk, and she had shit to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And
She
so
got out of
never
her
had-
deathbed and blew a door off the fucking hinges. No one
Yeah.
talks about that scene, but she
Yeah.
used the Force in a physical way, and that was my one prediction. That bitch is badass. She created a force field. She Star-Lorded her way back and shit.
Yeah.
She
I love
did.
it.
She
And I
used
love
the
the fact
Jedi
that
meditation.
It obviously took so much out of her.
Right.
That she had, it's like she's injured, she's in horrible shape, but but she's alive, and the Force, and she was able to use the Force to survive explosive decompression.
And
Do you think she saw
take
Guardians too? I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
that- She didn't recover from her coma until Luke reached back out to the Force again and started feeling and trying to figure out what's going on, and then that woke her up because
Yep.
they connected. And
Cool.
this time he kissed her on the forehead, not on
Together. And
All
she
right,
didn't
so-
die in this film. So.
Let's go around. Any final thoughts or anything
Oh.
that you missed around this? Jeff,
Oh.
go.
I love this movie. I'm just gonna say I love this movie.
You
I like
think?
where it's going. I do. That's my final thought.
Dirk.
Just real quick, my wife pointed out certain elements where, they were burning I guess the evidence of the Jedi or finishing the Jedi off or whatever, like ending it. And she thought it was a metaphorical of the change between what we thought of as Star Wars in the past and the new Star Wars and what this generation's going to take with it. So I thought that was interesting. I didn't pick up on that until she
I
said
did.
it.
That
And I was
makes
like,
sense.
oh, yeah, all right. So, yeah.
That's Kylo's point also. is looking
Yeah.
at the
Right,
past.
and well,
That's
that references
really
that, yeah. So I need to watch it again. I don't think it's a fair assessment, but I'll pick it up and watch it and try to take notes and stuff. So
Tomorrow.
Casey.
I don't need to watch it twice to assess it fairly. I hated certain parts. I loved most of it. And I will say that like the Snoke mystery is going to bother me a little bit because you build up
Yes.
a character so
Yes.
much and you give us zero. And I want to know because I read in interviews before The Force Awakens that he had been around the entire length of the Empire, watched it rise, watch it fall, became the supreme leader, rebuilt it from nothing, found Kylo Ren, and they said that he was part of what turned him to the dark side. Leia said it. Luke said it.
We've gotta
Why?
get him.
Where'd he come from? What the fuck? I don't know. And
We
why
have
is
to
this
get
all
him.
fucked up? I want to know.
we have to get them in 3. I mean, or whatever.
A
9.
flashback, please. Fuck.
Jeremy?
Come on.
I liked a lot of it, but two things that I really liked were the two awesome kind of samurai movie scenes. First, the great face-off shot between Kylo and Luke, just straight out, just like a ton of different awesome Japanese movies. It's like the scene. It mirrored the final battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul from Rebels from last season.
Oh,
It was super. It was probably the best
I gotta watch that.
lightsaber battle in Star Wars history because it was so quick and it was just done. The other one is there's a movie from the early 80s called Kagemusha, and it is just so bright and beautiful colors and amazing fight choreography, and that was what I was reminded of in the battle with the Praetorian Guards.
Kurosawa.
Who liked that really needs to go see Kagemusha. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful film, and if you liked that battle, you're gonna love this movie.
Yeah, look at that. Wow.
All right, Corey.
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. Ready to see it again tomorrow. I just like that it seems like everybody was pissed about it is because it didn't answer the questions that they wanted to know, and they act like that this movie should have been made for them to answer their things. I just like that. That's not what it was about. You know, he's telling his own story. Sorry, like these people who made up all these crazy theories and everything. It's not up to you what the movie's about. Like this is where it's going now. I thought, you know, it's funny that, you know, race parents were nobody. Sorry. And it, you know, with Snoke, I do kind of want to know where he came from, but that's not what he was telling in this story. You know, I'm sure there'll be books about Snoke, and you know there'll be other places to find his backstory. But you know, story's not made for everyone, and you know what they want to know from watching episode 7. It's got its own thing going on, and I was fine with that. But really like it. I'm ready to see it again tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel like, again, we all keep on talking about it. I think because it's a big issue, it's just the Snoke thing. To me, that was the one thing that I really didn't like. I feel like if they're setting it up to make Snoke a Star Wars story 3 movies from now or whatever, if that's a bad idea. Like, you can't build that character to that point and then do nothing with him, give no information or anything. I don't know. I feel like that's a problem.
Young Snoke, watch.
Yeah,
Young Snoke.
But I gotta say, like, in general, I'm a fan of the movie. To me, it did what I wanted of a Star Wars movie at this point, and I liked the Luke stuff. You know, it was, again, what you wanted to see Luke do is walk out into that salt place and like pull some Star Destroyers out of the sky and knock over AT-ATs and stuff like that. But that's not, you know, again, it's not what you think it's going to be. He's actually, you know,
He said it.
He went to that island to die, and that's what he was going to do. But you know, that didn't stop him from hooking everybody up. So anyway,
and here's something that I just realized. This is the first Star Wars saga movie that doesn't actually have a lightsaber battle.
Yeah, no lightsabers touch in this
Also,
movie. I heard that.
Hands get chopped off.
Snoke got his hand chopped off.
Yeah, that's true.
His whole body.
One hand was sitting on the chair still for a
And
while.
no one
At least we
said
know what happens when the chick from Jurassic Park turns a cruiser into Lightspeed and shoves it up the First Order's ass. I like that a lot.
Badass. But no one said I have a bad feeling about this in this movie either.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
No one said
It
I've
was
got
me
that.
when the credits started.
Okay, I take it back. Get to
Casey?
2. Get to 2.
Casey, Jeremy, thank you for joining us. We'll do
That was
it
beautiful.
again, I guess this Han Solo movie is supposed to happen in May.
Hey.
No,
So,
that's
yeah.
December. The
gonna
next
be
one,
number
the
2.
episode 9 happens in May.
No.
Did they change it?
9 got pushed back to December 2019, but they kept Solo in May of 2018.
Yeah, what
Fuck
I looked
that,
at
dude.
today, which
Infinity
looked
War.
recent.
We're gonna have 5 months between Star Wars movies.
I'll see you guys for
And then
Black
you get
Panther and Infinity War. How about
All
that?
right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Eager.
Later, everybody.
All right.
Later.
All right, and as every week, we're putting a question to our Facebook community and Twitter. And, of course, this week, the biggest question of the century was your thoughts on the epic movie, The Last Jedi. And
Color commentary.
our buddy Albert, his response was boring, preachy, trite. In parentheses, I'm probably being too harsh, but overall I was just disappointed. There were parts I liked, but right now I can't get over the things I did not like.
Nice. Amy was on there. You can catch Amy on the Labyrinth Lifers. GCandC.
Yarrowin. No.
She took the quote from Albert that there were parts I liked, but right now I can't get over the things I did not like, and she followed that up with I'm in the same boat there.
Yeah. Zach also was in that same category. He was much harsher in his other comments, but kept it to just simply dull here.
Yep. Nate said, I made a group called The Last Jedi Spoilers Ahoy. If you want to get this off your chest, I always go through a rose glasses period with a new episode, but I liked what I liked. There was stuff I didn't like, but those were, I can't get around most of it.
I can't.
I can get around most of it.
And Bill, who's always very active on our page, he said The Last Jedi is a good movie. That being said, it has lost the charm of the original. last hope, he put in parentheses, movie. It was painfully obvious the old school cast is gone and a great new group is very much in place. The Star Wars franchise has entered a new era. I expect the film should be called The New Franchise Strikes.
That's kind of funny.
Phil jumped on there, stated, as
Man.
a lifelong fan, I'm not thrilled about the quote-unquote training that Luke had for Rey. I'm not thrilled at the Luke Yoda scene, and I wanted more from Chewie and Leia. Of course, I've only seen it twice, and I've been known to warm up to new films on the fourth or fifth viewing. This film felt like a Disney movie more than any of the others. It also felt like the second part to a two-part new beginning of a franchise, not the middle of a trilogy. While I did laugh more than any other Star Wars, I also groaned more than any other. And in parentheses, Luke milking the moof. I know that in time, with the help of my 8-year-old, I will grow to love it. So from the perspective of a child, it is indeed the best Star Wars yet. The opening Poe Dreadnought sequence was amazing. The Luke Ren finale was brilliant. The arc of Rey, Ben, and Rose was moving. The grandness and spectacle of it was all there. While there are holes and flaws and issues as an adult, my son was blown away, and that's what Star Wars is all about. I will be hosting a drinking game when it comes out on DVD for every time Hope or Force is mentioned. I'll be there, Phil. I'm definitely coming to that drinking game.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, and I gotta agree. I've got 9-year-old and 11-year-old, 12-year-old now. Walked out of it, and both of them were absolutely blown away. The 9-year-old said it's the greatest movie he's ever seen. So
And then Mark-
kids are liking it.
Yeah, Mark also left, I don't see how any director growing up Star Wars says, this is the story I want to tell of Luke Skywalker. I'm sure, like most people here, Luke is your first hero. Huge plot problems. No one can tell me about how Codebreaker knew about the ships. Kathleen Kennedy should be fired. How can Rogue One get rewrites and director? Same with Solo, and no one touches this. This movie also tells kids you don't need a train to become a master and screw reading. John Williams' score might be his best.
Did
So
you not
answer-
see the books in that?
I don't know. To answer Mark's question, because Jeremy, who you will see in our spoiler section, answered the question about the Codebreaker knowing about the ships, is because the Codebreaker was listening to Poe and Finn talking about Rear Admiral Holdo's plan. That's how
Interesting. That's something I missed. I'll have to watch.
Very astute, Jeff.
I gotta say also, me and Mark went back and forth on text messages like crazy the morning after, and he's heavily against it, and I was more positive. The one thing that he said that I agree with 100% is he says, "You'll never get me to understand how we'll never get a scene of Luke using the lightsaber or Han flying the Falcon."
Yeah.
Like, agreed. Right?
Han did fly the Falcon in Force Awakens. He jumped out of that ship at light speed, so
Yeah,
he
I
did
think
fly.
what he's saying though is that like we had all the players there. They should have been a Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie cockpit scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then if you're going to write a story
Yeah.
about Luke Skywalker, he should kick some ass with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Sometimes things don't work out that way. That's
Yeah.
like, this is not going to be the way you think.
But I liked how they handled Luke coming back on the Millennium Falcon himself.
Yeah.
I did like
Yeah.
that. Because it was old times, and the best thing was spoiler alert, they put the dice back in the cockpit from A New Hope that
Yeah, I'll
was
have
there.
this after the spoilers.
Okay.
Dice!
That one scene in A New Hope where there was dice, because Chewie hits his head on those sons of bitches, and then they got lost after that
Spoiler
scene.
alert.
And now the dice were back, and I was happy with it.
Alright.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
Corey, you want
Thanks,
to do the
Jeff.
Twitter one?
Sure. This is from Tim at Regeekin.
Yeah.
Wanted to love it, but just didn't. Liked it, but felt they left questions not answered, and a weak storyline. The whole running out of gas MacGuffin felt like a 1978 Battlestar Galactica episode. Look, they're getting away very slowly.
Kind of funny.
Yep. So good feedback. Obviously, again, like I say, I hop on the internet and everybody's more negative than I am about this movie. So maybe
Well,
whatever.
at the same time, though, there's a lot of people that are freaking super positive about it.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, too positive. So I'm just a little more tempered in it. I didn't want
Sure.
anybody to
I'm
think
with you.
that I was crapping on it, but I also don't, I don't want people to think that I think I'm trumpeting the best Star Wars film ever.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's been Comically Gaming, episode 83. Thank you, everybody,
That was
for watching.
fun.
You guys
Loved
Thank
it.
you.
have a great week. Thanks, Casey and Jeremy, for joining.
Peace.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah, we'll see everybody.
Peace.
Oh, yeah, so let's just mention just real quick, if you actually watch our whole shows and you got to the end of this, I guess there's people out there who do that the next 2 shows are going to be our top 10 list for the whole year, and we've already filmed those and put them in the can, so that we can take a couple weeks off but keep on putting content out. You will notice at the start of all those, several times we talk about, and in the Labyrinth Lifers, we talk about how awesome The Force Awakens was. That was all recorded before we saw The Force Awakens. So
Last Jedi.
Last
yeah,
Jedi.
I'm sorry. Last Jedi. Yeah.
Wow.
It was all recorded ahead of time. So yeah, interesting how I can't wait to go back and listen to that again.
Yeah.
Funny. All right, later.
Check it out.
Later.